Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Swimmer Monday Motivation Show. I'm your host, Josh Davis, along with my co-host, Noah the Genius Yanchulis. Today is Monday, April 18th, 2022. And yesterday was Easter. So that's going to be the theme of our first half to motivate us is what Easter means to us and the power of the Easter message. So, Noah, how was your Easter?
My Easter was good. It was kind of uneventful. This was the first Easter in a while that I didn't get to see my family or anybody. So me and Iz just stayed home and did laundry and watched some movies. Oh, you'll be so proud of me. I watched the Passion of the Christ today, and I was like, I know Josh is going to bring up a movie, and I got to be ready. So I watched the Passion of the Christ for the first time ever, and yeah, it was a great movie. So I did that. That was my productive Easter, activity.
That's so good. I'm so proud of you. That's a powerful movie.
Yeah,
you're gonna think I'm nuts. I actually have never watched it.
Really?
I have to be by myself because I'll cry and I don't want to cry in front of everybody. And it's such a powerful movie.
Yeah,
and,
no, it was crazy. Like I knew that it was really like heavy and intense, but it just watching the whole thing and I was kind of researching to see how accurate it really was, and it's supposed to be pretty accurate with a few like artistic liberties taken, but It was really, really heavy. Like for sure you got to be like ready to see some pretty brutal stuff.
Yeah. Well, the actor Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus, I got to meet him in real life in 2010 in Irvine, California at Summer Nationals. He came down. He was a swim fan. His kids were starting to get into swimming. So when Nationals and Michael Phelps was in town, he came by the pool and the folks at USA Swimming said, "Hey, Jim Caviezel's here. Why don't you sit with him and talk to him about the meet and just visit with him?" I'm like, heck yeah.
So he was a swim fan. He just came to watch the meet.
Yeah, he just came to watch the meet, and so I got to sit in the stands with him for about 30 minutes, just talking shop.
Wow. Well, I feel great that I've seen a movie that you haven't seen. This feels like a huge victory for me.
I'm going to watch it. So, but today we're going to talk about the power of Easter. What we as Christians, call our Resurrection Day. But there's actually the other two major world religions are having their major holidays. It's the Jewish Passover this last weekend, and Muslims are still in Ramadan. So three of huge religious holidays converge on this one weekend. So it's really powerful. But I want to spend just a few seconds comparing Passover to Easter and the Jewish tradition of the Seder, which is the special order. Seder means order. The special rituals that they do, the prayers, the symbols, and the food that they do at the Jewish Passover, and how that compares to Jesus. And it's fascinating. So I don't have a whole lot of time to go into it, but I want to encourage everybody to just Google Passover and Easter, or comparing the Seder and Jesus. And it's just so cool. I just grin when I think about it and do the research on it because it's just so powerful. And anyway, a lot of the stuff that we saw in the Passion of the Christ movie, and a lot of stuff that you see in the movie The Ten Commandments. Noah, have you seen the movie The Ten Commandments?
No, but I actually saw it on like my suggested purchases after I watched Passion of the Christ this morning.
Yes. So you got to watch Ten Commandments so you know what's going on with the Passover. Yeah. And then it really makes what Jesus did during that Passion Week, the Resurrection Week, it really brings it to life. It's just fascinating. But the whole gist of it basically is in the Passover, the angel of death passed over the homes that had on their doorway some blood at the top and some blood on the sides. And if you make that image of the blood on the top, blood on the sides, it kind of is like a cross. And so obviously those of us that as Christians, when we trust in the blood of Christ, the angel of death will pass over us. And when we transition from this life to the next, Jesus says, "You'll be with me in paradise." So pretty powerful stuff, very, very huge stuff. And if this is real, and we believe it is as Christians, this has huge impact on our life and huge impact on our swing. So I created a devotional a few years ago that about when Jesus is not in the grave anymore. He is risen. He is alive. He is alive, and he actually sends us his spirit to live within us. And so if we have God's presence, it changes everything. And it really changed my perspective on swimming. And so when I just focused on God's love and his sacrifice and what he did for me, I was just blown away. And I became to have this new perspective. So I'm going to talk about 5 P words. His presence does 5 things. It changes my perspective. It changes my peace. I have access to new power. It gives me purpose, and I have these promises. And so Noah, you and I can go back and forth and talk about these 5 Ps.
Okay.
And the first is the perspective. My perspective is, it's not my time or place that gives me worth in my life, in my swimming, but it's God's love for me gives me worth. So it's not what I do that defines me. It's who loves me that defines me. It's what God did for me. It's not what I do for him. It's what he did for me. And so that's a huge perspective shift. And when you race in that perspective, you're really freed up. We use that phrase, swim free. Swim free. God loves you. Just swim free. You really don't have much to worry about. And so that leads me to the second P, which means peace. And we have the peace that God's in control, that God loves us, and he has our best interest in mind. He's going to work it all out. And we can really just go all out. And so the line I use is, do your best and trust God with the rest. It kind of rhymes. Go for it. Go all out in your practice. Go all out in your homework. Go all out in your swims. Go all out in everything you do. Do your best and leave God the rest. And that's a nice bit of peace to go about your day with that perspective.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I think the peace and knowing that you have his love and knowing that you have his forgiveness is huge. And like you said, it's like it does give us the ability to be freed up and to really go all out in everything that we do. It's like there's no expectations. You can't really fail when you know that you have his love, and it's everything that you really need. And so it's a cool feeling to know that. And I definitely fall back on that a lot. It's just, you can really, like you said, with the perspective word as well, you can really change the way that you approach things, knowing that you have his love and his forgiveness, and the fact that he died for us is huge.
So in addition to that intellectual knowledge that he's going to make it all work out and we're freed up to go all out, there's this really cool thing where it's kind of a mystery. It's kind of supernatural. We actually have not only with his presence, we get his power. That's the third P word, is power. And the cool thing is God is really powerful, and he actually brought Jesus back to life. That's resurrection power. Like, that's big time. If you think about that for a few seconds, it'll blow your mind that God brought Jesus back to life. He's the only guy in the history of the world that ever brought himself back to life. And that's a big deal. And, as the Bible teaches us that God created the universe, like, that's power. Boom. You created everything, bring people back to life. And Jesus did all these incredible miracles. Like, okay, so this power is going around, and how do we have access to that? And so here's the cool thing, that we as Christians, we don't know when our strength ends and his begins. That's pretty cool. And so when we kind of have that peace and his perspective and his presence, we get some power.
Yeah. So
I love trying to pray through that and access that in my practices. And all those years I was training for the Olympics, man, I really leaned on that. So it's pretty cool to have that power of the God of the universe, resurrection power working in and through you.
Yeah, that one's cool. I was going to say, Josh, real quick, I think I said this last year on our Easter podcast as well, but or maybe I said it some other time, but you said one of the first weeks that I met you is that something like the pain we feel reminds us that we're alive, and we were relating it to Jesus in some way, and just how much pain he went through is nothing compared to what we can go through. But that pain reminds us that we're alive. But tapping into, like you said, his power, you don't know when his starts and when ours ends, but it's like reminding yourself that he went through something that none of us could even come close to imagining. And so whenever you're going through something, at least for me, and I think about it a lot during my training or whatever, this morning or yesterday, I ran 17 miles in one of my long runs preparing for the marathon. And at mile 10, I was like, this is so bad. Like both my knees were hurting, and I was just like, I had gotten new shoes, so I'm just testing them out. But I always come back to like, you know what, like this doesn't really hurt that bad. Like a guy died for all of us. Like it's not that big of a deal. I can run 7 more miles. And so it really does unlock something new in you. And for me, it works all the time. And I love that feeling and knowing that he's there all the time. It's such a good feeling.
Wow. I love that. Yeah, you really get to pray and thank him for his pain and sacrifice when you're running 17 miles. Oh my gosh. Well, it reminds me of when I was in college. I went to this summer camp called the Ultimate Camp, and similar to Ultimate Swimmer, but they have a different name. But the Ultimate Athlete Camp is where they run you through an 18-hour competition. So if you can imagine 18 hours of competition, it's all the sports. It's like basketball, swimming, obstacle courses, and then the final, and you get like a 3-hour nap in the middle of the night. They keep you up till midnight and then let you sleep for about 3 or 4 hours. Then you get up at 4 a.m. and you keep competing. And then the last competition of the 18 hours is you have to run down a hill with a bat. They give you a bat to put on your back, like your little imaginary cross. And you run down the hill and everybody's yelling at you. And so you're exhausted. But thankfully you get to run down the hill for this last part. But then you get to the bottom of the hill and you have to run back up. So the very, very last thing is you have to run back up the hill.
Wow.
And so you got the bat on your shoulders. Everybody's lined the trail up the hill and you have nothing left. Like everybody's yelling at you, all these cool, encouraging things. Do it because he did it for you. Don't give up. Your pain is nothing compared to the pain he went through for you. And your legs are burning and you feel like you're in a Rocky movie and you have nothing left physically. You're on the verge of nothing left mentally. And you have to really hone in on where are you at spiritually? And it is a really powerful moment. And it really changed my life. The 3 summers I got to do this camp, this 1-week camp, ending in this 18-hour competition called the Special.
Wow.
And
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. I'd love for our college athletes to go through it because it strips you down and you're just like face to face with Jesus on the cross because you're having your cross moment. And it's powerful.
Wow.
But the next P word is purpose. When you got God's presence in your life, you're going to have purpose and meaning in your relationships. God wants to use you to comfort others since he has comforted you. And God will more than likely be using other swimmers to encourage you. And so the swimming memories are twice as fun when you have real friends to share them with. So you have purpose in those relationships. And I love that about the Ultimate Swimmer community is that we have a special bond, that we know that we're here not just to go fast, but we're here to enjoy each other and have fun and make good memories together. And so we always want to encourage those meaningful relationships. And then finally, we have the promise that all of this is not just temporary. It has eternal consequences, that we're part of an eternal plan. And that gives a lot of, just a great sense of meaning to this journey, that it's not just about the laps. It's not just about how we're getting faster. It's about how we can make others faster too and make the world a little better place, make our team better, make our environment better. And that's when you get a lot of real joy and a lot of real satisfaction and a lot of real motivation. And, every week now we're hearing of an Olympian that's retiring or someone that's burning out or someone that's done. And obviously everybody's got to be done at some point. But I think when you got God's presence and you got that peace and you got the perspective and you got that power, it gives you great purpose where you can kind of keep going week to week, month to month, year to year, finish the way you want to finish, or at least finish strong. And so those are the P's that we get from God's presence on this Easter message.
Yeah, those are awesome. And I just wanted to close with, nope, I just lost my train of thought entirely, but that's it. Sorry.
That's okay. No, we're going to keep talking because we got the verse of the day. The verse of the day is kind of Easter related. And I put this on my little Instagram yesterday. And you wrote a great workout yesterday. And I got in and did it too. And I was I was tired, and but it was very satisfying. And
you did great.
Thanks. 2 Corinthians 5:14-15. For Christ's love motivates us. Christ's love, we're compelled, we're motivated, we're renewed, driven by his love, because we're convinced that he died for all of us. So we know that the sacrifice and pain that he went through for all of us to die for us, and that he came back to life for us. So now we no longer live for ourselves, but we live for him. In light of what he did for us, we now live for him, and it's his love that compels us and motivates us. I just think that's a super cool verse that just sums up a whole lot of what we just talked about.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it gives you a sense of security almost, knowing that you have his love. And like you said, going back to the purpose thing, is like when you remind yourself that it's not about you. You know what I mean? It's about others, and it's about serving, and it's about love. And it's when you can remind yourself of that and continue to live like that, it ends up working out for you in a good way, I think.
So basically, this all wraps around to the person and work of Jesus Christ and what he did for us on that Easter weekend and what it all means. And so Jesus is his reality is inescapable. And so we have to look at his life and say, okay, was he real? And everything points that he was real. And then we have to look at how did he live his life? And he lived his life in an incredible way. And so then we have to look at what he said. And this leads us to the quote of the day. And one of my favorite theologians and authors is the great C.S. Lewis. And of course, C.S. Lewis wrote many, many things. And of course, the Chronicles of Narnia. And he was best buds with Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings and all those great stories. But anyway, C.S. Lewis probably wrote one of the great books of all time, explaining the Christian faith and explaining what Jesus was all about. And this is a really powerful quote. When I read this 30 years ago when I was in college, it just really blew my mind. And here's what C.S. Lewis says. You see, I'm trying here to prevent anyone saying the really foolish thing that people often say about Jesus. People say something like this: I'm ready to accept Jesus as a great moral teacher, but I don't accept his claim to be God. So people might say that, but that is something one cannot say. You see, a man like Jesus, who was merely a man and said those sort of things, he would not be a great moral teacher. He would be like a lunatic on a level with a man who says he's a poached egg, or else he would be the devil of hell who just has this incredible lie. So you must make your choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else a madman, or something worse. You can shut him up for a fool, you can spit at him and kill him as a demon, or you can fall at his feet and call him Lord and God. But let us not come up with any patronizing nonsense about him being a great human teacher, because Jesus has not left that open to us, and he did not intend to. And I love that quote by C.S. Lewis, because basically he just explains it, that Jesus, he wasn't a lunatic. There's only four options. Either he was a lunatic, a liar, or a legend, or he's exactly who he says he is, Lord of the universe. He can't be a lunatic. He wasn't a liar. He wasn't a legend. He actually really lived. And so the only choice we have left is he's actually who he says he is, Lord of the universe. And when I made him Lord of my life 30 years ago, it changed everything. And I hope you guys can really explore the depths of his life and what this weekend means. And it really makes an impact on your life.
Yeah, that's a good quote. A lot of the movie, The Passion of the Christ, there are like a lot of the people that live in Galilee or that town that are saying like he's got to be crazy, he's got to be insane. And then you have the other half of the people that are following him and his disciples and others that are saying, no, this is he is what he says he is. So it's like if you believe it, which we do, it can really unlock something in you.
Yeah. So we now transition to this day in history, and April 18th. This is some good ones, Noah. April 18th.
I can't wait to not know anything that you're about to say.
In 1506, Pope Julius II laid the cornerstone, the first stone for St. Peter's Basilica, the huge St. Peter's in Vatican City, Rome, down in the middle of Rome. And I've been there a couple of times, and it's unbelievable. It's hard to believe that it was 700 years ago that they started building that thing. No, 500 years ago. Sorry. We're in 2020.
1506?
Yeah, 500 years ago. 500. Yeah. So Have you been to Rome yet?
I haven't, and Iz has been a few times, and I don't even have a passport, so I need to go. I have a long bucket list of things to do and movies to see, and so I got to do it.
You got to go see St. Peter's in Rome. It is unbelievable, and in the works for 500 years. Okay,
Wow.
moving on. 1775. That's it. You probably know what that is. 1775. Paul Revere made the famous ride through Boston, warning everybody that the troops were coming. The British are coming. The British are coming.
All right, Paul Revere.
That was one of my favorite epics in world history, was the Revolutionary years. I just find that whole era fascinating, and the characters fascinating.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. My knowledge stops at whatever was taught in what's it called, National Treasure. But that is a movie I've seen. But
at least you've seen those movies.
Yeah, I've seen National Treasure, of course. I'm a Nicolas Cage super fan.
Oh yeah, the new Nicolas Cage movie's coming out.
I know, it's going to be crazy.
Okay, in April 18th, 1956, the famous actress Grace Kelly married Prince Rainier of Monaco. She gave up her acting career and moved to Monaco to become the queen and royalty of Monaco. And she had several kids. One of them was named Prince Albert. Prince Albert is, I don't know, 10 or 15 years older than me. But he was a great benefactor of sports. And he always brought big sporting events into Monaco, in that cool country. And he always hosted this huge swim meet every year. And it was a wonderful meet. And I never got to go. I always wanted to go. And one of my friends from South Africa, she would go. And she met and fell in love with Prince Albert. And she married him.
Wow.
And so my friend her name was Charlene. And Charlene on the South African swim team, she married this guy. And now she's Princess Charlene of Monaco.
Wow. That's amazing. That's good luck right there. Could have been you. Just kidding.
No, but so Princess Charlene is my friend, and she's the Princess of Monaco. And
That's
now
amazing.
they have a couple of kids, and now she helps run that country. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So that was this day in history, April 18th. And now we transition to the swim news of the week in closing. And the one thing that really caught my attention in the swim news of the week was the famous South African swimmer, another South African swimmer, Matt Sates, is done with Georgia, done with college swimming, only 3 months, and he's done. He's going back to South Africa. He's going to get turned pro. But actually, you can be pro and stay in college now, which was kind of interesting how the way they worded this article.
Yeah.
But I think he wants to be fully pro, no more college, just go back home and train and just do private coaching and his own schedule. But he had a great couple of months for Georgia while it lasted.
Yeah, I feel like from what it seems like, he wants to be able to get his like international meets in. Like he wants to swim the international schedule, the long course and the short course meters. But it seems still very bizarre to me. I don't know what you thought. I feel like everybody assumed he was going to stay for the full 4 years. I feel like this was in no way part of the plan. But he definitely made his 3 months count. But I don't know. It's kind of bizarre.
I have my theory, but
which is,
I think what you said is the main thing, to get on a long course schedule, a World Champs Olympics kind of schedule, to prioritize some bigger money events, and prioritize getting ready for Paris. But I also think that the lifestyle on a college campus, as productive as it is for a lot of people, I think it has distractions. I think it has pitfalls and temptations, that I get the vibe that he wants to really live clean and has big goals for Paris.
Yeah.
So I think he wants to skip some of the partying and the intensive homework and the intensive schedule that some places have, and just and just focus on Paris.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I probably agree with that too. I think that, I mean, he's going to do great. My thought was like, he's not, I mean, he's an amazing swimmer, but he still has like a lot of work to do if he wants to be like top tier. I think, I feel like Olympic champion, all that, he still has a lot of work to do. And I didn't know, I mean, who knows? I mean, Georgia seemed to be good for him in the 3 months he was there swimming wise, but like you said, everything else could have not been the right fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's some cool news. Our buddy Ryan Kuth, I don't know how you say it correctly. Ryan is the new head coach, Kouth, at Messiah University in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Ryan, he is the brother of Tyler Kouth, who I swam with at Seton Hall, and so I know them well. And he was a head coach at Biola a couple of years ago, and then he went to Georgia Tech for a year, and then now he's head coach at Messiah. But it's awesome. That's a huge pickup for them, and I think that he's going to do great there. He won a conference championship his last year at Biola, which was a huge deal for them. But yeah, I think he's going to do great there, and I'm excited for him, and I think that hopefully we'll be able to follow him as he progresses in his career a little bit.
Yeah, great guy. I met him at the UT swim camp. So, by the way, quick plug for swim camps. I'll be helping out with the UT swim camp for my 30th year in a row. I'll be running. You and I will be running the OC swim camps. Probably the best camp for the money in the world. 3 days, 3 days, less than $300 with you and me at our beautiful pool at our beautiful campus here in Oklahoma. It is probably the best deal for a 3-day camp in the globe.
And not only is it a 3-day camp, you also get like a 40-page booklet of Josh's whole life work of swimming, which is worth millions of dollars probably. And so if you're not coming to this camp, you're making a mistake.
The booklet itself is worth $300 according to Noah, if not more. And then you get 8 hours a day with us in the pool.
Yep.
And then a chance in the evenings to go explore around beautiful Oklahoma City. So we got the OC swim camp. I mean, you just Google Ultimate Swim Camp Oklahoma or Ultimate Swim Camp Josh Davis, and you'll find all of our camps and clinics. And so anyway, just want to throw that in there before I forget. The other swim news of the week, a 16-year-old from Australia went faster as a 16-year-old than Caleb Dressel and King Kyle Chalmers, two of the fastest ever. So this guy named Flynn, what a great name.
It's an amazing name. I've always loved that name. It's awesome. 48.6 as a 16-year-old long course 100 free is amazing. I'm pretty sure when I went into my 16-year-old season, that was my best yards time. And thankfully I got faster, but like 48.6 long course for 16 is insane. He doesn't really look 16, but it's amazing.
Yeah, he's a big boy like Kyle probably.
Yeah.
But that converts to like a 41.9.
Yeah.
Yards.
Yeah.
That's at 16, that's impressive.
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys doing that.
And my last little bit of news, Dakota Luther, our friend who's from Austin, but has been swimming at Georgia for 4 years, having a great fly career for Georgia, academic All-American, unbelievable, ultimate swimmer, Dakota Luther. She's entered the transfer portal. She might do her 5th year and come back to Austin and swim at Texas, which would be so cool.
Yeah, I saw that and I immediately thought of you. I was like, all right, this is going to be big time. Especially they got Texas women were 3rd at NCAAs this year, right? Which was a pretty big step up for them in recent history, at least.
Oh, they were 2nd. Was it 2nd?
No, they were 2nd. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is huge. Big deal. They got a long way to go to catch Virginia, I think, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I going to say? Real quick about another international news was just some of the big Australian people not going to Worlds. Titmus isn't going to Worlds. Kyle Chalmers isn't going. And Emma McKeon's probably not going to Worlds, which I think they're all focusing on the Commonwealth Games. But it seems like some high-profile swimmers are not going to Worlds this year, which I think the scheduling of it all and canceling it and then not canceling it has kind of messed a lot of people up. So that'll be kind of interesting. And then also we're not sending a team to Junior Worlds either. I noticed that. Like Team USA is not going to be participating at Junior Worlds. So a lot of people backing out here.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a summer just to stay home and race at our nationals. We have world trials this next week. So we'll be talking about that next week. So that'll be fun. And then summer nationals. And so kind of interesting international stuff going on. But I think it'll allow people to really mentally regroup for the final push for Paris for the next 2 years. So
yeah, for sure.
Man.
I want to jump in real quick and talk about the club swim champs. So the Collegiate Club Swimming Championships, it's a meet that happens every year, and not a lot of people know about it, really, I feel like, because basically every college has their varsity team, but then there's also like club swim teams at colleges where regular students can join, and it's not as intensive as normal college swimming, but it's still a chance for people to go and compete and race. And so it's really cool because Michigan State cut their team last year, their varsity team, and a lot of their swimmers ended up trickling down to the club team. And Michigan State actually won the club swimming championships, and it's combined men's and women's scoring. And so they outscored University of Virginia's club team, who's normally like the winner of this event. And so that was good for Michigan State as a little redemption to beat Virginia. But yeah, it's a fun event for sure.
I'm so glad they were able to pivot and become a club team and race and train and go to this new club nationals and win the whole thing. That was probably a big boost for them. And I just love that they were able to do the work. You know, it's not varsity. They're not on scholarship. They just want to swim, and they now have a championships they can go to. I just love that.
Yeah, and it's cool. And some of the times are actually like pretty impressive. I mean, you got guys going like 54 in the 100 breaststroke, guys going, girls going sub 150 or 150 in the 200 freestyle. Like it's some of the times are pretty decent. It's not just like people that don't know how to swim. I had one of my best friends. He was actually in my wedding, David. David Thornton swam at Northeastern. So shout out David. He probably will not listen to this, but David, his goal, he wanted to swim D1, but he's also really smart. So he went to Northeastern in Boston. They only have a women's swim team there. And his goal the whole year was like, I want to win a national championship on the club team. And so he trained all year. And this is after club. He didn't have to do any of this. He was training 400 IM, 1,000 freestyle, 500 free, 200 IM, and I think 200 breaststroke. And so he ended up finishing like top 6 in every event, and then he won the 400 IM in a best time of like 4:06 that year. But it was just so cool because he just kept training through. He didn't have a coach that year. The next year he was actually coached by Kip Darmody, who's a former Texas swimmer. But it's just such a cool thing to see kids that they're just going to the pool for fun, like we've talked about. Like it's not really like they have to do it, but they just are addicted to it and they want to train and race, and it's such a cool event. So shout out David.
Yeah. Way to go, David. Way to go, all the participants at the club college championships. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. It's good attitude of gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what the Easter message is all about, attitude of gratitude. So they're definitely ultimate swimmers. Any other news?
I think that's – I forgot. We need to do our Easter candy rapid fire real quick. I forgot about the Easter candy. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to just say an Easter candy, and you say thumbs up or thumbs down or however you want. So the first one's Peeps.
No, I've never been able to do it. Yeah.
So I had sour watermelon Peeps over the weekend, and they were the worst thing I've ever eaten. So if you see them at the store, don't eat them. They're so bad.
I think they're made in China.
They might be. They were terrible. All right, next is jelly beans.
Certain flavors are okay. So half and half.
Okay. What about chocolate bunnies?
Absolutely. Big thumbs up.
Reese's eggs.
Yes. Any Reese is good.
I think Reese's eggs are better than regular Reese's. Something about the way that the chocolate and the peanut butter are, it's just different. You have to go try it. And then Cadbury eggs.
Nah, not so much.
Yeah, me neither. Starburst.
Yeah, Starburst's cool.
And then this last one, I don't even think it's an Easter candy, but candy corn.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite Halloween candy.
Oh, I can't do candy corn. It just tastes like you're eating wax. I don't know.
More for me.
But I read that Americans spend $1.9 billion on Easter candy every year. It's like it's pretty much like right on with Halloween candy.
Wow. I wouldn't think it was that close. But
yeah, 1.9 billion is a lot. So anyway, that's my my last little bit of Easter.
All right. Well, we hope you guys had a great Easter. When every day is Resurrection Day because he's still alive. The grave is empty. He is risen. He's alive. So hope that encouraged you today and motivates you. So thanks for listening to Monday Motivation. Now it's your turn to go make history in the pool, in school, and in your home and town. And on behalf of Noah Yanchulis, I'm Josh Davis, and we can't wait to see you around the pool soon. And we'll see you next week. And until then, keep streamlining and keep smiling. Bye-bye, everybody.